Today, I'm going to be introducing you to the F3 screen. You may be a Minecraft professional, but you might be scared of this little menu, so I'm going to be showing you what the majority of the things in there do, and if I don't cover something, I'll have a link to the wiki where everything is listed. If you're wondering what the map is, by the way, this is for an upcoming build project I'm going to be doing, so subscribe for that. God, I'm so good at YouTube. In the top left, we have the version of Minecraft you are using, followed up by your FPS, and then how many chunk updates your computer is performing. Chunk updates are essentially how many chunks are being, updated. Then there's some server information, I don't care, followed up by C. So this is the number of chunk sections rendered over the total number of chunk sections in the loaded area. So essentially that's just like how many chunks, right? Like how many of these boxes are being rendered. And we can see that there are 1,800 being rendered right now out of 35,000. Next, you see the D, that is our client-side render distance. Now you see this E number. That is the number of rendered entities over the total number of entities. So if you look at the E number right now, let me lower my FOV because this is a speedrunning technique. So there are the sheep, they're on my screen. Now they're off my screen. So you can see the E number says 0 out of 5. So there are 5 total entities. And now, when I look at the sheet, there are 2 total entities. That is a weird looking sheep. So essentially what you will do is if you are speedrunning, is you load into the nether, you look around, and when the E numbers get to like 40 or something, you know you've detected a bastion or a red forest. So that's a really useful technique. And that's what the E screen does. P, that's just the number of particles in the world. So like lava popping has particles and things like that. Next, you see where it says T? That is the total number of entities in the loading chunk. So in all the chunks that have been loaded, that's the total number of entities. X, Y, and Z. So essentially the X, Y, and Z is if I walk in the positive X, as you see my X value increases. If I walk in the negative, it decreases. This is south, which is towards the positive Z, so the Z will increase, and then the Z decreases, and then your Y will increase up and down like so. Very next thing we have is the chunk. It just says chunk, and essentially this just displays your location in a chunk. So if you were trying to find a buried treasure map, you would go to 9, and then you would dig down, and this is where you would find your buried treasure map. So if you're ever looking for buried treasure, just head to 9, and you should find what you're looking for. I've already covered this partially, but as you can see, we've got our facing, which just means which direction your character's facing. And then we have client light, which is where the light source is coming from. So as you can see, this block right here has this block right here, this block, perfect. So as you can see, this block right here has a client light of 15, which is coming from the sky, which is giving a 15 signal. Let's say we were to go underground and do this, you see that the client light is now 0, and that's just because the sky is gone. But if I was to place a torch in there, it would show 13, because that's how powerful the torch is. So next we have CH, which describes the highest block on the block in like this block I'm standing on. So as you can see, if you look in the top right, it says targeted right now, and that's just 235. So the block I'm looking at is 235 in elevation, and CH is also displaying 235. And if I were to raise this, and then go under it, this now says 235, but the CH value has changed to 238, which if I look at this, is now 238. So I think that makes sense. And then SH is just the same thing, but server side. Biome is very self-explanatory. It just explains the biome you're in, and as you can see, this is the snowy tundra. The local difficulty, I would recommend you go to the wiki and check out the area that it specifically shows off. But it just essentially shows the difficulty of the chunk the player is in. Okay? The SC shows the total amount of mob spawning chunks. Okay? So that's normally 289. And it is. Sounds is the current active sounds. So look, if I break a block and I start breaking and placing, it's placing multiple sounds. If you look where it says mood, if you stay underground like this, your mood will slowly increase 1% at a time, And when that gets to 100%, your cave, you'll play a cave sound, essentially. Okay, that's how cave sounds are triggered. And when you're above ground, the percentage will decrease because you're no longer spooked because you're in the open air. Alright, and then as you can see on the right, it displays information about your computer, and then when you look at something, it displays information about the block.